No Happy New Year. Welcome back, everybody. Another absolutely 10 out of 10 introduction for me. This week in the podcast, we've got Simmo, who does Total Screamers podcast all about football. How are we doing, Simmo?
Very well, mate. How's yourself?
Aye, good. Gav, how are you, mate? You do this podcast with me, sorry.
Brand new, mate. Absolutely brand new, aye. Thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it.
It's good to be on.
Sorry, it's fine. So, Simmo, you're all about football. You did a wee bit of gaming as well?
Aye, so gaming's mainly a sort of hobby for me. Mainly Football Manager that I do, but I kind of... Aye, so Football Manager's my fucking addiction. That's something I can play for 9-10 hours a day. But I'm pretty much into everything, I've just started Zelda Breath of the Wild. I don't know how much you gamed that. I know I'm well late to the party, but fucking... Is
that on the Switch?
Aye, so we got a Switch. I've not got my PS4 anymore, so I bought that so the missus can play it as well, and that's what I've started on.
Smart, yeah, that's what I need to do.
Pure nostalgia, innit? It's all the old games when you're a wee guy.
That's what I was playing all the old Marios and that.
Aye, Zelda. I remember Zelda, because that was a kind of first person sort of walk-around game, wasn't it? It was quite ahead of its time. Aye, it was brilliant. I loved that.
It was cracking. You could pay a wee £7 subscription on it, and you get to play literally all the... So I did play the old Zelda when I actually got it.
The Sands of Time or something like that? It was on
something like that,
Oh, knowledge. Mate, I'm on a Beers, Gav, as you can see, man. Back on Beers, because I just can't stop it. I got way too excited there.
You notice how he said back on the Beers there, Simmo, because he was
off it for a week.
6 days.
It was a week, Gav. It was 6 days, aye.
I can't stop lockdown boozing, man. I don't know about you, but I just can't seem to stay away off the booze for fucking
even get me
5 minutes.
Aye. I weighed myself the other day, and I was like, Gav, we drink away, and he's like 105 kilo, and I was like, oh no, 106. Like, I was pure devastated that my pals tell me that pretty much a kilo off, like the heaviest I've ever been in my life. What you about? Well, I'm going off my weight, so obviously lockdown and that, and lockdown adds 20
pure mathematical,
aye.
So how did the whole thing come about in your podcast, or like your interest in Premier League? Is it all because you're a St Mirren fan?
Aye.
I'm assuming you're from Paisley.
Aye, so from Paisley originally. And then so I didn't watch any football outside St Mirren till I was about fucking in high school maybe, and then I started watching the Premier League when FIFA kind of like came big. I always played FIFA when I was a wee guy, but it was only when St Mirren was in the game, which was few and far between. For St Mirren, I had to wait till FIFA was 6 or something.
Did you have to always go St Mirren if you never wanted to go another team?
Aye, I see. Even a Football Manager, my St Mirren.
Oh man,
it's too easy to manage Liverpool.
Aye.
When I started playing like FIFA in high school and all that, you would have to go big teams to play online and that.
Aye.
And Liverpool had a side that was, you could be like fucking laughed at for going a side that was too good. Like Real Madrid or something like that, but you didn't want to go a side that was totally shite, so you went for like 4.5 stars. Liverpool, that was it. that was the sweet spot, you know what I
mean? No, the half a star St Mirren's.
See, I think, remember when Rangers get pure relegated to the 3rd division, that they were like rest of the world 1 star. They were like, oh wow. But no, I remember being online and just never winning a game, man. Never. Didn't matter who I went. Couldn't win. Everybody was too good. Aye, mate. It's just... I'm going to blame the internet, obviously. It's no
Slagging,
aye. But see that boy, KSI, who's got a song with Craig David now? That's how he became pure famous.
Aye, that's right.
FIFA online.
FIFA reactions and stuff like that.
Aye. He's a pure millionaire.
Aye.
Songs with Craig David. And a boxer.
He's a boxer, musician, a YouTuber. Very good.
He's fucking loaded, that's what he is.
Exactly. Did you mind the song he brought out, the first song he brought out about his Lamborghini?
No.
It was his first song that he'd proper produced or whatever and got it kind of a music video and all that. And all he done was shout, Lamborghini! Like, that was it, the whole song.
Mate, if I bought a Lamborghini, man, I'd be fucking shouting about it every day, man. I'd probably make a song.
That's what he said. He's like, well, I think he was only 21 at the time when he bought a Lamborghini. I was like, fucking hell.
I think he was kind of one of the kind of pioneers for like a YouTube video. I'd never
he got in early.
A video on YouTube.
Got in early. I started, like, even though he's still quite young, I still think he started like 10 years ago. His brother does it as well.
That's right.
And he's obviously loaded as well, but not quite as loaded as like KSI. I think he'll get 50 million or something for his Logan Paul fight. Aye, or together. I think both fights put together 50 mil. So it's fucking. I watched a video to get a custom necklace made. Like fucking it was Beerus. I don't watch it, but it's Dragon Ball Z. He's daft on it.
Right.
I quite like Dragon Ball Z. Well, I used to. I don't know. I used to watch it as a wee guy.
And he had it fucking all custom made, and it looked absolutely class.
He
liked to have that sort of fucking dollar line of it.
Oh, he's mint it, isn't he? But that's the dream, isn't it?
That's what.
Hence this.
Aye. Welcome to my road to getting a Lamborghini song. I think at his age now.
Just the song, but no the Lamborghini.
Just the song. No, 27. He's only 27.
27. Fucking hell, same age as me, man. Jesus.
You're lagging. Is that it?
You sent me 50 mil and I've been fucking lagging internet. Anyway, enough about KSI.
Let's talk about Simmo. Right, so Liverpool, is that how you ended up following them quite heavily because you went them in FIFA?
Aye, pretty much, mate. Aye. Went them on FIFA. Liked the tracksuits as well. What a trackie it is. Every day as a teenager, so I don't know if my trackies. Liverpool ones were class. So it just went from there, and then I get probably proper into football when I was maybe about 19, 20. Because a lot of the boys I was in it when I joined the army, a lot of the boys were daft on football, and it was a good way to get out of work in the army. Is it if you're good at sports in the army?
Aye, is it?
Aye. So I just kind of get into football, and then probably the last sort of 3 or 4 years I've been following it to borderline obsessive level.
Have you not else to do now or what?
It's quite good to see somebody who's following them and not being a glory hunter. You see them at the new Liverpool fans that have just sprung out of nowhere.
Oh, aye, same thing happened to Manchester City. City.
Aye. That's how I started supporting Rangers again this season.
Done with Celtic.
I asked them if they knew any of the players, and they started naming fucking Peter Lovencrantz and Michael Moles and all that.
Okay, right.
No, I never know. But
so when you started following Liverpool, who was playing with them? Who was all there?
Gerrard, Xavi Alonso,
Torres.
Yeah, Torres was a massive one for you because he was
a wee bit.
Pretty much when all the good players came.
Quite right.
Louis Garcia was an favourite of mine.
Dudek.
Yeah, Jersey Dudek. Yeah, he was cracking. He was probably the last great keeper that Liverpool had before Alisson, like the last proper great keeper they had. Loads Jamie Carragher as well. Pretty much just all the usual faces you think of when you think of Liverpool. Because obviously the big players played. Liverpool were always an early team, but they had like world class players and amongst players that were just sort of like maybe mid Premier League level. And they came close a couple of times before obviously the Jurgen Klopp era. That Liverpool fans are sort of living in just now. I wouldn't class myself as on the same level of a supporter as a guy from fucking Liverpool. I've been to Anfield twice, so you know what I mean. I'm not that kind of. I've got it's football's fun when you get the stakes in it. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I would just be like, I'm never going to go to a Champions League match. when I support Simmo, you know what I mean?
You're not, mate. No. Well, you never know, man. You never know.
Well, you never know.
Just Gretna made a mad rally for the third league. For the Division 3 all the way up to. Did they get into the Premiership?
Then I think they did, and then they turned to dust.
But I've been to Gretna fucking loads of times.
At least you've been to Anfield though, because you get a lot of people that are like die-hard fans and they've never been to a game. Do you know what I mean? So,
aye.
You've travelled.
It was class, mate. I went on Freshers weekend as well, so I was on the piss all day. And then I fucking went to the game, and we went for VIP as well, so we were in the Bob Paisley lounge. You can bev in that. So that was fucking class, and then I was straight out on the piss after it as well. So good weekend.
I went to Liverpool on a stag do. It's a good night out, eh?
Oh, aye, class.
Everybody's dead nice, man. There's no kind of arseholes.
No, I thought it was it was class. It was absolutely class city.
I've never been
once. So you're part of the Liverpool fan club then?
The one in Glasgow and the...
No, it's like the thing online so you can bid for tickets and stuff. And
oh, but I don't go that often. So, but if I'm getting tickets and I plan a weekend or something, I'll just speak to one of the boys that started Total Screamers with. He's a Liverpool fan as well. He's down south, so it's easier for him to get the tickets. But I follow all everything Liverpool pretty much. I follow all the news and all that.
So how big on you? You say obviously be a podcast, you need to watch every game that's televised anyway.
No.
So if I was to get a wee challenge in it, I think you would. Let me see. Yeah.
Right. So see how like you say you watch every game. If you got one dodgy, you got an Amazon stick, aye.
IPTV.
Because Gav's pure
I've not got one. I definitely don't know a guy that could get you one either.
Like tell you up your 5-year question if you watched every televised game.
Every game that's through a reputable source.
So if I was to ask you if you could name from 1st to 20th, is it 20? 20 teams. What team is where in the league? Do you think you would be able to do it?
Well, there's Finland played just now, but yeah, I think I'd probably could do it.
Right, okay, 2 seconds.
We're not in a room with you, and you've got a computer screen in front of you, so...
So trusting, Kenny.
Just because I listen to an podcast for Australia, and they phone people and do competitions, and you get caught out for cheating because you sat with an Excel spreadsheet. Aye.
Right, I've got it up. So I'm assuming... Aye, there's games going on the route there.
So first and second, Liverpool, Man United. Man United are playing right now against Burnley. So depending on how that match goes, if they win that match, they go top of the league.
Aye. They're sitting top of the now. Behind they must be winning. So.
Aye, so they must be. Oh no, it'll be because the games. They might be drawn. It might just be drawn.
Okay.
It's only kicked off. Well, scored, but anyway.
So,
yeah. So you get Liverpool at the top. Oh, well, we're at the top. Should be at the top, hopefully.
Aye, let's go with before kick-off.
Before kick-off. So before kick-off, Liverpool were first on goal difference. Man United. Then in third place, I think it was... This is a tricky bit because 6th to, or even 8th to 3rd, if you look on the table right now, we'll have like 1 point point difference. So the teams that are up there, and I don't really remember what order, is basically Spurs, Chelsea, Man City, Everton, and West Ham should still be about there as well.
Yeah.
And then you get into the sort of lower half of the table where you have Brighton, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Fulham should still be 17th. The bottom 3 are Sheffield, Fulham and West Brom. Above them, Brighton, Burnley.
Spot on.
Not really. So you have a few teams...
What am I missing?
You're missing probably the big one. They're sitting 11th.
Probably Wolves, isn't it? Wolves sat 11th, no?
Arsenal.
No.
Arsenal, right, of course, Arsenal. They were 16th, 15th, 16th, not too long ago, about less than 2 weeks ago.
What do you think of Man U? Because see, before the start of the season, I thought Man U, lucky to make it the top half.
All gone to the championship.
But because I thought, I don't follow the Premier League that much. I watch games if it's on or whatever, but I would always watch Scottish football first.
Aye.
But which been the views? Obviously, you've watched some of their games this season. So have they actually been any better, or has it just been a bit of?
Aye, recently they've had a surge, and obviously you can tell by looking at the table. They're definitely shifted up there, and it's mainly because no team is really
that great.
Yeah, no. It's because a combination of there was no pre-season pretty much for any Premier League club this season, so there was a load of weird results near the start of the season. But Man United, for the past sort of 2 years. We'll go from when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the job. So roughly about 2 years. I've been really, really high in terms of the quality of football they play, and then suddenly just kind of go off a cliff, and they live down there for a while, and then they go super high. So if you can imagine in the graph, it's kind of like that.
And troughs.
So it kind of screams inconsistency. And if you look at the quality of players Man United have in their side, you would expect them to be up and about that top four. But yeah, see, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's getting a tune out of them just now, but that could go off a cliff at any time. But this is probably one of his longer stretches of actually playing some, because it seems like he's settled in a formation, settled in a first 11. Bruno Fernandes, I don't know if you've read about him, but he's fucking a different class. I mean, 100%, if Bruno Fernandes doesn't go to Manchester United, when he does, Ole probably gets a sack.
One thing about when on Sky Sports, when they're doing like when they do like this weekend the games are, and they have the teams and then the two players for the teams, it's always him. He's always the player now that they show for Man United.
He's just
bossing it.
He should.
One thing that annoys me about him is that fucking penalty. Why does he take a penalty like that?
Maybe hop, skip and a jump.
Doesn't actually annoy me, but it's just weird.
No, I seen that. See, when I first seen that, I didn't see who it was that scored that. I saw the penalty a few weeks ago, and I thought, is that Pogba? Because I just feel like it's a pure Pogba thing today.
Just this tiny wee.
It just shouldn't be doing it.
Take 10 minutes to run up to the penalty spot.
Has he been playing much, Pogba?
More recently, so he's kind of back in and around the team. Been playing in a slightly weirder position, kind of in midfield, but way off in the left. Not in playing in the position a winger would play, but not doing a traditional sort of winger's job. It's more kind of like try to link up the midfield with the attack and maybe find Rashford or Martial or Bruno Fernandes later on. But he's...
Where did he play for Juve? Was it kind of...
Man United to Juve and then back to Man United.
No, when he played with Juve when he was really shit hot, and that's why Man United brought him back. Was he playing out in the left a wee bit more?
No, he was playing central. Yeah, so he was like a bit of a box-to-box sort of midfielder, like really athletic, really good at pretty much being... He's an athlete. He's a great athlete. His gait is like... See, when you see him run, he just eats up yards like nobody's business.
His stride is huge,
he's a spectacular athlete, and the thing is, he just dips in form quite often that you wouldn't really expect out of a player like, because what people remember sort of prime Pogba as a World Cup Pogba. He was a real talisman in that midfield that won that World Cup. But yeah, he was superb for Juve, hence why Man United brought him back. Although it was Sir Alex Ferguson that actually sold him to Juve and didn't really see a future for him at Man United. So that's been the sort of like question: is was Sir Alex
right? I think his attitude's a bit howling sometimes. Just something feels like
his agent's a fucking nightmare as well.
Yeah, a walloper, a walloper.
Walloper.
I know, what a walloper you are.
No, that's the one thing that.
Enough about your fiercest rivals, because that's Liverpool's fucking.
The biggest thing about Pogba for me is, talk about his attitude. Do you know? I think he's one of the players that he's just focused more about his appearance. Like he'll think about having a nice haircut and all that before the game, and rather than like just like Roy Keane fucking hates him, doesn't he? Like, that's funny to watch.
It's Pogba's loaded, so he's got money to burn. He might as well look good. Like, if you're a multi-millionaire. Why do you look like a tramp?
Like, see,
players get grief for looking bad.
See, pre-lockdown, like in a Premier League, if they're travelling away in the hotel, there'll be like fucking several barbers, mate. The majority of Premier League players don't step onto the pitch without a fresh haircut the night before or in the morning. And it's not just a lot is due to vanity, obviously. They're fucking loaded. Why not get a fucking personal barber and stuff like that? But quite a lot is down to your image as well. The more fashionable a football player can make himself, the more marketable he is. And the more marketable you are, the bigger the brand deal you get. Obviously, Pogba could never play a game of football for the rest of his life and still make, upwards of 20 million a year for the rest of his life. Just on the symbol that he is in France and in the UK and stuff like that. And brands want to work with him because he's got worldwide sort of appeal.
A global brand.
I see you put Paul Pogba's face next to something that automatically has some sort of reputable value, So that's another reason why it's probably more like you said, they're just fucking loaded. They just do what they want.
Simmo, do you ever watch A League of Their Own? You ever seen that?
No.
Gav, you ever watched it? You watched that?
Aye, I've watched it.
James Corden in it.
I
fucking hate that guy.
Do you know like him? Oh, come on, man.
He's a fucking knob.
Oh, no.
Right, Kenny, bypass us.
No.
I made this rum and coke too fucking spicy, man.
This is actually a James Corden podcast.
Oh fuck, here he comes now. I was just saying how much I like you, James.
So obviously it's all sports and that. So they had a question one time about Chelsea, and a manager came in and started like cutting luxuries that the club had, and one of the luxuries was that players get a free haircut, but then players were bringing their families in on it. So like, barbers were coming in at daft o'clock in the morning and leaving at daft o'clock at night, and like the bills for barbers that they were getting was like 10 grand a week just on haircuts for team, and I was like, what? So so these people are just absolutely caked in money, and even when they can get a free haircut, they're bringing their wains in and all. So
it sounds like the barbers are fucking caked in money and all.
I know.
I know. That's what it is. It was a mad weird question. It was like, what was the budget cuts at Chelsea when so and so came in, just to kind of bring players down a peg, and then it was like haircuts. It was the other mad daft things and all, but it turned out to be haircuts.
Face paints and all that kind of
face paint. Bouncy castles. They had bouncy castles.
That's one club that I can never take. You seen FIFA? I'll tend to go into the Premier League as well if I'm playing FIFA or whatever, and go one of the bigger teams. But one team I just can never take to is Chelsea. I don't know what it is, and it's not even. I'm a Celtic fan. It's not like the Rangers, Chelsea thing. I'm not bothered. No, it's not
pure bitter, man.
Yeah. Shut up.
Look how aggressive you're getting.
If you can't put a finger on it, it's probably most likely you just fucking look at blue and just don't like it. Just fucking hang on. There's something wrong with us. I don't know what it is, but there's something fucking wrong with that.
I'll explain Man City and all that. There you go. Oh well. Aye.
See who I really like the Premiership? I've always liked Liverpool, but I really like Newcastle for some reason. I don't know why. I just really like Newcastle.
I like a club, innit?
I think it's because they're north. I think teams at the north.
I did New Year's Eve one time in Newcastle. It was brilliant. I mean, it's a likeable city. It's great, likeable people. Geordies are fucking hilarious.
Funny.
They're just so hard done by their owner. Than it's just this guy that's just sports direct guy.
He's John Lewis now as well, didn't he?
They're just on for this like fucking guy who just sucks all the money out and so it's just one of the things, mate. I mean,
he looks a bit like James Corden, man. I know you.
That's why I hate him.
Right, so obviously, right, you got a big love for Liverpool. Is there any teams in the Premiership be like, like Gav hates Chelsea? Like, doesn't he hate dislikes because they're blue?
Teams that I dislike.
You're not keen of, aye.
Probably Man City's no one I'm massively keen on.
Aye.
Man United, obviously, fucking.
Just Manchester. Just Manchester.
Just Manchester, really. Like Everton, a lot of people that outside sort of Liverpool think that Everton fans and Liverpool fans hate each other, and it is maybe a tiny bit of that. But literally, see when you go and sort of walk to Anfield or Goodison, you go to pubs and there'll be like every country just like playing pool with each other and stuff like that. They call it the friendly derby for a reason. It's because it's like super close. So Everton's not a club I dislike supremely. You know what I mean? I would probably say I like more clubs than I hate in England. I'd probably say clubs that I dislike are clubs that fairly terrible fan bases like Millwall and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like they're the clubs I think, oh fuck, you just fuck off. Why don't you? You know what I mean? Like,
you again,
Millwall. They don't need to be here. You know what I mean?
Because they wear blue.
I heard Jamie Carragher talking. I think it was Cy Ferry's podcast actually, and he was talking about how he was an Everton fan, or his family were Everton fans.
Aye.
I was like,
played for Everton as well.
I never knew that.
No, wait, actually, it was an Everton support. He was an Everton fan as well, and then he got offered into the Liverpool Academy. Became a
Liverpool legend.
Aye.
He used to be a Scotland taps, didn't he? He used to have a lot of family up here.
Really?
They love us in Liverpool. They love Scottish folk in Liverpool.
Do you watch
a lot of
the open goal, Simmo? Do you watch that? No.
No.
They do talk about the Premiership a wee bit, but mostly.
No, I mean, I think it's because I actually listen to quite a lot of podcasts as well, and some of them are football ones, and I watch so much fucking football that it's just
that much yet.
It's only so much I can actually get into my fucking.
What is the podcast down south that they do about the Premiership?
Oh, there's literally
the boy that takes it. He's on the radio, and he's a Newcastle fan, dead thin glasses. Fuck! I wish I never started. I hate doing this, man.
Unsure, mate.
Aye, right, let's just totally bypass that. Right. So, what do you want to talk about now?
No, I want so obviously the St Mirren thing. We obviously grew up in Paisley. That's how you ended up supporting them. Did you used to go to the games and stuff? Or did you
all the time? I me and my dad all the time, every season. Just to where I was growing up, for me, it was just normal that that's what you would do at some point in the weekend you would go watch your football team. I didn't really understand until I was older. Not everybody actually does that. My dad's a big football fan. He likes Arsenal as well. That's his sort of team, just because he used to watch a bit of the Premier League, and he was fucking just at his time that Terry Henry was fucking just absolutely superb and a class player to watch for about 5 years in a row. So. And he liked Arsenal earlier on as well. But my dad's been pretty much every important St Mirren match in history. My dad's probably been there.
They're on a good run just now, St Mirren.
Just
educated and good.
Right off the back of a fucking terrible run, but it kind of looked as if we might not survive this season. And it had been turned around.
He's sitting 8th. Was it 8th or something?
Aye.
Kenny done his homework, didn't he? He was watching some games.
I watched the highlights of the Motherwell game. I was a bit end to end, nearly like the 2 free kicks at the end of the game. St Mirren were unlucky, and Motherwell maybe not as good as the St Mirren free kick, but
it's been a while since we've been able to watch St Mirren in the Premier, the SPFL, and watch them be the better team. Because all it for the past sort of 2 years has maybe been pinching results, and we're definitely in the right direction. We've got a good face of the club. Jimmy Goodwin is a player I remember well. I thought he was fucking bald, by the way, because he used to shave his fucking nut, properly bick it. And then he went away. Obviously, did his badges, did his coaching calls and stuff like that. Comes back and he's got this. I was like, is he had a hair transplant? And I was like, no, he was just, as he was on the pitch, he was just a fucking psycho that just like to dick himself because it made him look harder.
They were talking about that on the open goal with Barry Ferguson. Cy Ferry was like, "You're looking good now. You're looking after yourself."
He looks
hair, a wee shaved beard now. You look nice.
He does.
Man now.
Does look crap.
What was the deal? What was the deal back when you were playing football?
Just like to look like a psycho.
They just want to look like a mad in that. And then people, he's like, I was just focused on my football, and just that was all I wanted to do. I had no interesting fancy haircuts and that. Just play.
He was a crack player.
More into it.
He was. I think it kind of shows like the kind of player he was is in the way he sets up at Mirren now. They're quite organised at the back. Brought in like quite physical players for the back as well. Richie Tate and stuff like that. So he was that kind of mad mental sort of centre back, captain, leader, fucking.
I remember one of my brother's mates. I think it was my brother's stag do actually, and we were just doing it in Glasgow. And one of his best mates, a St Mirren fan. He's a pure diehard St Mirren fan. So Celtic were playing St Mirren at what's your stadium called again?
Just like St Mirren Park now. On paper, it's a simply digital arena.
What it used to be,
Love Street.
It used to be
Love Street. And it would just be it'd be like half a k down the road. Is where Love Street used to be.
We went there. It was actually quite a good atmosphere for the size of the stadium because used to parkade and whatever, and it's like tens of thousands. But it was great, brilliant. I went to see the cup final as well. St Mirren won the cup final against Hearts. I went to see that in Hampden. It was really good. Being a neutral, that's how I watch it. What about the most important St Mirren result this season?
Most important was probably
again in the cup.
When we beat Celtic, Jamie McGrath. I was like trying to think, what is the most important one? Even though it was a great result and a great day and a great market. for someone to put down. You know what I mean? Because a lot of our good form kind of came after that. We were kind of winding up and gearing up before that, and it kind of felt as if like because we'd maybe had 2 decent results before it, and kind of like that would probably be, we wouldn't put out a strong side and we'd maybe get a go, but we wouldn't get any joy. We don't normally get that much joy against the Old Firm. But it's always a great day when we do. Jamie McGrath as well, who's fucking just kicked on for them. He's been fucking...
Is he?
Brilliant every game. Every game he's just first name in the team sheet for me every time, Jamie McGrath.
Some of the players as well that St Mirren have produced, like McGinns.
All the McGinns.
All the McGinns.
All the McGinns.
All 3 of them.
Yeah. A boy we had in the podcast before, Simmo, was one of my mates that I travelled with. Well, my mate I travelled with, Keezy. He stayed around the corner for him. Used to play football with them. He's like, Keezy used to play football with him. See, if I go to Keezy's house, I pass by their parents where they stay.
I didn't know there were a few that way.
When Keezy won the cup with St Joe's, I don't know what McGinn was there, but one of the 3 of them were in the pub with him.
I mean, they're still playing. Both Paul and Stephen are at they're at Hibs now.
I seen them last night, fucking bastards.
I was going to say, I thought I was like that when I seen the result. I was like, the boys they wanted to watch that game. I was like, okay.
No.
What did I say, Kenny?
I'm a big Rangers fan. Me love it. It was a pure waste of time. We could have done this last night.
I know. I text Kenny like halfway through. I was like, I wish we'd just done it tonight because this is horrendous.
Anyway. Also, John sends up all the Aston Villa gear for all the boys at St Joe's. So
he's a key player for them. He's really playing at a really high level, John.
Absolutely.
And he could the way he sort about it and the kind of the traits the attributes had are really, really well suited to Premier League. In terms of like he's an engine in midfield and he kind of like frees up Jack Grealish who plays with, who's a really good player as well.
Is that him with the hair?
That's him with the hair.
His hair's good, but his boots, by the way. Remember these boots for last season?
So basically, if you don't know, Jack Grealish, in the season that Aston Villa got promoted, which was 2 seasons ago, they've been in the Premier League for 2 seasons. This is their second season. Am I right in saying that?
I think you're right.
Sure, Sean McGinn was there when they got promoted.
He was actually he was all the way there, and he played in the same boots all season, and trained in the same boots all season because they thought they were lucky. And by the time they was at I think they Villa went up through the playoffs. By the time they went to Wembley, these boots were like fucking. He had his toes sticking at them and everything, man.
I love that, man.
Jimmy Grimble? Is it Jimmy Grimble? Aye. Oh, Kenny, man, you're fucking brilliant, right?
Speaking of Jimmy Grimble.
So what is his boots like? Blue Moon?
He's got to be. I think he's on a boot deal now with some fucking huge one that's probably worth more than his football contract. But I think he changes his boots regularly now. A lot of footballers will only wear boots for like 10 matches.
That's mental because he's trying to break a pair of boots in. Fuck me. It's not easy. They'll probably pay somebody to fucking walk about in them or something, wouldn't they?
They used to get YTSs. I remember hearing about this. That podcast I was talking about before was the Football Ramble.
That's my favourite. That's my favourite football. Marcus Speller, Luke Glenmore, Pete Donaldson.
He's the host.
Andy Brasso, Jules Breach, Kate Mason. Really top journalists. To be honest,
I used to listen to that all the time. At Pete Donaldson's some buzz, and he's just a pure. I feel as if he doesn't fit in with all them, but he's just as knowledgeable. But
he's like a seasoned podcaster. He does more than. He can podcast about anything, that boy, because he's just fucking gets so many hours in a week. You know what I mean? Like, so he does a wrestling one. He does a podcast about Japan called Abroad in Japan, and he does Rambo. And I think he's regular guest.
He does the radio. So he does.
He did do the radio. I don't think he does it anymore. That's where his background was. Nah, I think he quit radio so he could full time podcast. I'm not sure he does radio anymore. He might start it up.
Recorded radio. He did kind of like go on a Sunday. Record like a month's worth of radio and then just fuck off. That was that.
I got a message for a radio station on the Matchmaker FM how we came to to enter this podcast from a radio station. They were like, "Oh, we really want you to come on, James." And I was like, "All right, okay, I'll come on. Just fill out this form." And I was like, "Nah."
That's no what podcasts are about. Fill forms. Jesus Christ.
That is the beauty. You can see radio and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying, Gary, we'd be on radio, but I'm saying, well, we'd have a radio station, but you've just got the freedom to say whatever the fuck you want. You can swear, you can talk about anything, and if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's
the thing. Like at the end of the day, every radio broadcaster works for somebody and's got a boss, and they're essentially the talking head for a message that the radio station wants to send. Whereas, this is even if it's a tiny platform like like my podcast or something, it's still mine. Still in the vision that I want
100%
to be. You know what I mean?
Aye. There's nobody telling you, "Oh, you can't say that." I think we've only had to edit one podcast, haven't we?
Pretty much, aye.
We only had to clip out one wee thing. That was it.
Made a wee boo-boo, didn't we?
That was me. It's no you, man. Gav's the most professional, handsome man on the planet, and I'm just sitting like that. Oh, I'm all packed up to move house. Gav's still turned up in uniform. Like, fuck it, man.
Oh, mate, I've just realised you've not got your hoodie on. I'm not professional.
I'm wearing my
champagne
Michael Jordan t-shirt tonight, but it's still black. It's a black tee, mate. So
there you go. There we go.
Mate,
but see the relief in your face here, Kenny.
I know how unprofessional we've still not mentioned our sponsor. Like, that's how stupid we are.
These segments, mate.
You do it. Hurry up.
This episode, get on. No, but just big thanks to our sponsor. It's Fear McDonald Hodge Media. So he does photo restoration, any marketing videos, promo videos. Brilliant, isn't he, Kenny? Can't say enough of it.
Anything today with your eyes that you need to see that's on a telly or computer. If you're not got his Fear McDonald Hodge, you're a twat. So that's that. Cheers, Steve. Love you.
Love you, mate.
Back to the wee man Simmo, who's with us tonight.
You could be on radio with that voice.
I practice it every day.
Practice it in the shower. That's what I do.
Send
demos to people.
So, onto your podcasting, Simmo. So, you mentioned that your co-host or co-founder he's doing South. How did that come about? How did you connect?
Aye, so we met in our phase 2 training for. So Jake's in the Royal Navy and I'm in the army, but medics. So I'm a combat medics technician. He's a medical assistant. We kind of do our training in the same place.
Yeah.
Because medicine's the same, whatever. Whoever you're doing it for, really. And we met there. Fucking hell, a long time ago, 7 years ago. And then so we became really good pals then. We stayed in touch for years and years. We've been on loads of things together, stag do's, fucking. We went to see Borussia Dortmund a couple of years ago as well. Me, Jake, and one of the other hosts that's been on, Tim. We went away to see Borussia Dortmund. It was brilliant. We've been pals for years, and we talked about probably the podcast for like the last 2 years. We actually were like, all right, we need to sort of do this at some point, and then lockdown came. There's really no excuses when lockdown comes.
Exactly.
It just started by like, we'll get a couple of microphones, we'll record it, we'll just fling it up. And a lot of the early Total Screamers episodes are just us talking football. There's not really any total like sort of structure to the episodes. And then it kind of jumped on for that, and then we kind of like, but what can we do to kind of make it a wee bit better or make it a wee bit more interesting? And it's kind of evolved into what it is, which is like structured shows, interviews, we get a proper website, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everything. We're there, something, try to sort of build it up into something. It's kind of, at the beginning it was just something to do in lockdown, but I don't know if you boys are the same, but that's how it started. Now we're kind of like hooked, and now I'm kind of get this obsession with podcasting and the sort of platform like other people doing it.
It's just different. It's still new. Do you know what I mean? Like when you think about media,
it's new. It's definitely a still form of new media. I would say, and untapped media. I keep seeing it seems every celebrity over the past sort of 6 months has got a podcast. I've got a feeling though it'll die out because if you're used to television, this is a lot more. We've got to protect a public image and stuff like that. So it's like these. But I think that podcasts are only getting bigger and get bigger every single year.
Yeah.
So
more streams and more views, more everything, just because it's easier. It's like the radio's at this time, at this day, and you need to, if you miss it, you miss it. And then now they're starting to do Radio 1. You can listen back. They say listen back on the podcast.
Aye.
They're starting to do podcasts now, but you're listening back to a show that's a wee bit out of date. If you miss a day, you go, I'll catch it tomorrow. Whereas with a podcast that comes out when it comes out, and you listen to it then. If you miss it that week, then you might catch up the next week because you don't want to miss a week. So it kind of runs in order. Well, it should.
It's definitely enjoyable. What was the first podcast you listened to? You remember?
I've been listening to podcasts for a couple of years. The first one would probably be Joe Rogan.
Of course it was.
It's
everybody's in it.
he's a man. I still listen to Joe. Granted, I'm more like sort of selective on the episodes I pick. If I'm not particularly interested in who he's got on, I'll probably give it a miss. But if I see somebody, you know, or somebody I don't know, Joey Diaz is he's the man. Bill Burr's another one for me.
Bill Burr. I love Bill Burr.
Alex Jones. I don't agree with a thing that fucking boy says, but he is hilarious. I've never.
He's always right though. He's always been right. Like, not always.
I was going to say don't say that.
When that episode he was on there, when there's the big kick up about the Spotify thing and that, Joe Rogan was like on him, like so, like no, wait, and he kept coming back and kept.
Prove it.
That was like that. In terms of like,
it kept coming up right. So I was like,
well, in terms of like podcasts or interview technique, Joe Rogan's up there. But like keeping a guest, that's probably the worst guest you can. If you're like a podcast host and you're interviewing somebody, that's probably the worst guest you can have. That's just going to go all over the fucking gaff with all these different tangents and nobody knows what they're fucking talking about or whatever. But because he has been doing it for so long, he's got so much fucking hours just like on the mic talking to folk, and he's been able to sort of keep that and sort of that the second Alex Jones one is actually better than the first one for me because you got to hear Mary's mad shit.
Mad shit. See there's a video on YouTube like Joe Rogan gets angry.
Interrupted.
Interrupted. Sorry, Gav. For interrupting me. What are you doing? It was Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, aye.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's like, Joe goes to talk, and he's like, no, wait there. And he's like, Joe's midway through saying, he's like, yeah, but and he's like, you see him getting like,
he was getting annoyed, wasn't he?
I listened to that one. That's that.
I had about 15 joints like that. Just trying to keep himself doing that.
That was definitely like, Neil deGrasse Tyson didn't paint himself in a fucking good light at all on that. It was that's like one of the things where like the guest has come on and try to steal the show. And like he is essentially on the biggest platform, the biggest podcast there is on the platform. So it's like you should probably just sit there and talk to Joe. You know what I mean? Rather than no, this isn't it's a Joe Rogan podcast. You know, so it's not a Neil deGrasse Tyson podcast.
Exactly. But some of the who's your favourite guest that he's had on? Did you say Alex Jones?
Well, for funniness, that's the funniest guest he's had for me. Because they're like 3 hours long, those episodes, and they're just fucking worth listening to. Like, I do a lot of travelling between like Glasgow and the base that I work at. It's about 3.5 hours, so that's a lot of my like podcast and audiobooks. I don't listen to radio. Sometimes I put in TalkSport. Sometimes I put in TalkSport, but other than that, it's just audiobooks and podcasts, and that's like a Joe Rogan episode. Roughly in it, for 3 hours, sometimes in it. But I think the best guess he's had for me is probably Elon Musk. He's like
that guy is just
something I was interested in.
You know, been on twice.
Twice. First time is the one he smoked a joint,
and then the Tesla stock dropped 20%.
But it was straight back. It was straight back up at 10 days later.
It grew. Tesla grew something like 370% last year.
Yeah, trust me, he's doing fine.
Yes, all right. Yesterday, Elon Musk became the richest man on the planet.
Was it?
Yesterday, he overtook Jeff Bezos yesterday.
I was going to say Jeff Bezos is going to be absolutely fucking fredders.
They hate each other. They do hate each other, don't they?
They stand for different things, don't they? Obviously, that's probably
no, because Elon Musk has got SpaceX and Jeff Bezos has got fucking
some other company.
Amazon Prime flight to the moon or something like that. He's got another one. Okay. He's got another like space orbiting thing. I'll Google it whilst
well, here's a thing.
Who's your favourite guest, Gav?
Just serious on that. Who would you rather trust though? I would rather go on Elon Musk's fucking flight than Amazon can't even deliver a parcel to me. So I'm not going on the flight to the moon. My favourite guest, probably, there's been so many episodes with Joey Diaz, but every time I see his name come up, I need to listen to it because his stories. I thought he was bullshit. I thought he was bullshitting. In all honesty, because some of the stories are mental, but then when I actually realised what he came from and his background, I was like, this guy is just fucking hilarious.
He's like his stand up as well is fucking world class. Joey Diaz. In terms of like proper stand up, it's not just like fucking. You know what I mean? Like, oh, how about the Celtic and the Rangers? You know?
Or the typical bullshit.
That's why it's really hard to go to. But like, I don't think comedy's as big as in Glasgow as it could be. You know what I mean? Like for every sort of like fucking one place that does stand up in Glasgow, there's like fucking 20 clubs. You know. But I think I love stand up comedy and I fucking highly rate Joey Diaz. So I'm right with you there, mate.
Was he not chucking it when before Joe Rogan got a hold of him? Like, wasn't he as big as what he was before Joe Rogan got a hold of him?
No, probably wasn't as big as what he was, but like Joey Diaz, if you used to listen to his episodes, you know he still does small gigs. Because he thinks he needs.
That's when you grind your teeth. That's when you. Joe Rogan's so good at impersonating him, isn't he?
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, Joe Rogan do his voice, mate. I don't even know the fucking difference if I got his
Listen it, nah, kid,
He's on his spot now.
Probably my worst episode. I listened to 15 minutes and turned it off was Kanye West.
He
spoke about was God. No, bullshit, man.
Wow.
See, do you know what annoyed me about it, right? Because Joe Rogan's he's always a person that's like, see if somebody talks about religion and stuff, like Ben Shapiro's been on a few times and he calls him out and he's like, but why is it?
Well,
aye. So, but then when Kanye West was talking about God and God sent me a message, like I was expecting Joe Rogan to be like, how did he send you a message? Was that a text message? Was that a fucking email? What sort of message? But he never. And I was like,
no, I mean,
Spotify money. Do you guys Spotify money? Yeah,
maybe.
No, apparently he's pretty adamant that Spotify aren't allowed to have any say in the actual content that goes out. They don't even see it. They literally just get the thumbs up that it's gone up. They don't edit that in, I don't think.
I don't think I've watched it or heard or seen as much yet since he's went to Spotify. It feels as if it's harder. Yeah. It's more harder to find its own Spotify for like Joe Rogan, but I'm always on YouTube. I like YouTube.
No, I'm always on YouTube. You still get the clips though, didn't you? You still get the clips on YouTube?
Yeah, you get GRE clips. I don't know if you can't get a full pod on YouTube like you used to, I don't think. But you can get the clips. But I like you said, that Kanye West episode was like that was fucking mental, to be honest, mate. Like
I thought it was quite interesting still though, because it's an insight to, I think it was merely a platform for Kanye West to express how he's been and why he is, and how he is, and where he's going and what he's doing, as opposed to being questioned on his religion. It was just more a neutral platform for him to express himself, as opposed to a media platform that twist.
I was going to say, yeah. Like,
because if that was a news interview, it would be like Kanye West builds churches for X, Y, and Z reasons, where it was just. I get what you mean, Gav. Like, if it was somebody else who is a preacher coming on. That's what he was doing. He was preaching. He was saying, I'm this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and this, and it just wasn't what you expect for a Joe Rogan experience.
I think he was maybe aware of like fucking Kanye West's headspace. He's not a fucking well man when it comes to like fucking mental health. He's got a lot of issues.
He speaks about that as well.
He does. He should have called one of his albums. I love having bipolar or something like that. But I understand. Maybe I think Joe probably could have been a wee bit more, but I think maybe he was worried about the kind of reaction he was going to get for Kanye. Still needs to be like, I'm sure he doesn't want to offended it or whatever. There's things that can trigger Kanye West like that, you know.
Wasn't a completely different demographic that Joe Rogan's used to? Because one of my favourite episodes was with Post Malone. I loved that.
That was good.
He's done two with Post now, I think.
Has he?
I think he did one really early on with Post Malone, and then he did the recent one. I know what one you were on. You're on about it.
I didn't know he'd done one before, because I just didn't put them together. Like,
but they're brilliant. They're just talking about films.
And he's talking about, why did you move away from LA? And he's like, I had to get out of here, man. It's just crazy. Like, so many people try to piggyback your success, and And Joe's like, I know, just, you know, blah, blah, blah.
They just went with each other, didn't they?
The two of them were just shooting shit, and it was like, they knew each other. And obviously they did, because that makes sense now that if they've
It might not have been, actually. I think I might be wrong. Now that you're saying it, but
I just find that, because Post Malone's really just hit the scene the past couple of years, but he might have been wrong.
He went to 0 to 100 in like fucking seconds, wasn't it?
And it was just cool to see the two of them sitting having beers, because I'd never seen Joe Rogan have a beer before.
Really? Oh, it's always whiskey in it. It's always Buffalo Trace.
Whiskey and weed.
Aye.
And I was like, what is he drinking? It's like a Bud Light or something.
Aye.
Well, that's what Post Malone. That's all he drinks in it.
Aye.
That was a good episode. There's so many good episodes, isn't there? Like he was just.
He's the reason he's the best, isn't it?
Aye, he's a pioneer, and But see, you're talking about his interview technique. Like, he does almost a lot of research, but he's like a sponge. He always says like, I'm a monkey. I'm just stupid. I'm this. Mate, you are clever, because he absorbs everything, and he can rhyme it off like that. So he talks about the aliens and stuff like that. I love all that chat as well.
It's great fun, isn't it, man? You know?
Aye, brilliant.
I'm only finding one, and it was the 15, 16.
I think you're right.
I mean, I done the exact same thing when maybe about 6-7 episodes back. We were talking about Joe Rogan again, and I said something about Dave Chappelle, and I was remember, and I was like, he's been on the podcast, but he hadn't. So
is he not actually?
Yeah, he has now.
He has now, yeah.
I had a pure Simpsons moment and predicted the future. Aye.
Well, it just seems like, because they did a show, Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle did a show like a parking lot, sort of like social distancing sort of thing recently. Two you'd sort of put that, but like Dave Chappelle for me is the absolute goat. Like for me, he's the best stand-up comedian ever. Dave Chappelle.
I went and seen him in London.
Did you?
Aye, mate. Oh, mate,
how have I not heard about this?
I don't brag. I've seen loads of things, mate. Those things I've seen I can't remember. But when me and Keezy went to see him in London, we got the megabus down. The megabus.
London, was that like 14, 15 hours or something?
Nah, long old way that.
Nah, my God. It was like we got the megabus in the morning, got to London, got the megabus back that night. Oh, it was horrible, man. So horrible. Anyway, so we got to London, we had a few beers, spiked to eat, pure loving it, went to the door. Dave Chappelle was like, we're not ready yet, you need to come back. All right, okay. He's went to a wee pub next door, a few more beers, and the queue was fucking enormous, man. So we stood on this queue for ages. Like, what's going on? Like, why is it taking so long? Like, we've got tickets, take the tickets, let people in, but that wasn't the case. So you go to the door, they took your tickets, and then they took your phone. So they made you turn your phone off. They put it in a white sealed bag, locked it, so you could not access your phone at all.
Was recorded for a stand-up show then?
Couldn't record anything. You couldn't take a photo. He he explained it before kind of started. He's like, you gotta get off your phones. I'm like, oh, right. Like, everybody's got to stay off their phones. Like, this isn't a show to record. Like, just enjoy it. Like, I was like, wow, like, he's right. Like, people. Joe
Rogan does that as well, didn't he? He spoke about doing that before.
I think it's just like it's definitely frowned upon either way. Normally, don't take your phones free, but if you're at a show like that, you shouldn't have your phone out. But if they're doing specials, there'll be something like if he's doing that for Netflix. I think he might have been doing that for Netflix. Then I did that with
4 years ago when I went and seen him. It was just a tour, and it was
maybe
it wasn't even like it was like a tiny wee.
Do you know what it would have been?
In Camden or something like that.
He would have been trying out his material for his special.
Maybe.
If he had a special coming out, then they're limiting the amount of people that are able to hear that material. Before I think that's probably what it is, mate. Because 4 years ago, kind of that times he's like, right before his comeback, innit?
Aye, like he was just kind of talking about, like he was smoking his vape. He had a mad weed vape, and like that. You know, you shouldn't be able to do that like that.
It's normally a fag. It's Dave Chappelle. Just a cigarette with his
specials on Netflix. You get the mad onesie on. He just sparks up.
Yeah.
It's legally. It's illegal around the world. Like, why are you all right?
It's because he's Dave Chappelle. That's why.
He's Dave Chappelle, mate. The goat.
Have you watched these Letterman things, Simmo, on Netflix? Done a Dave Letterman thing. I mean, it's quite recent because it was during COVID because they're wearing masks and that. And
I've not seen that. I've seen his sort of 3-part comeback, and that was, and then obviously just a couple of other clips that I've seen him do. But no, I've not seen him do it with Letterman.
The Letterman thing's amazing because he talks about the George Floyd thing because he done the thing for was it Netflix, but it's like Netflix side thing.
Oh,
remember we spoke about it, Gavin?
Aye, that's right.
A wee half hour. So he done that, and he speaks about that. So it's post that, and he speaks about why he ended up doing it. It's really cool, man.
I definitely need to check that out, man. I'm a big Chappelle fan.
So honest, and he just fucking, just like even when he came on the Joe Rogan podcast, he came down, he's like, "You got a coffee?" And I get my coffee, and he's like, "Got any weed?" yeah.
See, for me, like Dave Chappelle, he's probably my second favourite comedian. Billy Connolly for me is still.
Of course, Billy.
I just love his. See,
I've never took to him, man.
I know.
A pure sacrilege thing to say. Because I was speaking to Ferry today and SF Electrical, if you want to get any. Every time I'd mention him, I've got a podcast. And he's like, "Oh, right, mention it."
£500, mate. Send your invoice.
I'll PayPal you the money. But he's like, I'm not really into comedians. So I got him to watch Taskmaster. Have you ever watched that, Simmo? Taskmaster?
No.
Come on, you fuck, man. They can't watch these.
I've still not watched it either. he asked me every week, and I'm like, nah, still not watched it.
Anyway, so there was these 5 comedians on a show. They're all British, and well, there's other people on it. And they do shit. But it's besides the point. I was like, who's your favourite comedian? Like, Billy Connolly. And I know they've stopped doing like, he's stopped everything now. Because he's got
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's, that's right. So they've done TV done a full thing for him, and Ferry watched it and said it was really, really
brilliant. It was New Year. New Year, it was so good, man.
New Year, was it?
Aye, it was so good.
I have not watched it.
You should watch it, mate, because he's just a. See, when you're talking about Dave Chappelle, right? Dave Chappelle is like storytelling, or the way he lays out his jokes are just like second to none. It's a totally different style in it. But Billy Connolly is just brilliant.
I've watched Billy Connolly's jokes when he talks about like getting the. Oh, it's weird because Kevin Bridges has done the same joke, like talking about getting the bus for like the 40 bus. Kevin Bridges talks about, but Billy Connolly talks about getting the bus for Drumchapel to Clydebank, and about it doing the big hill and all that, and everything being a wee bit mental. And it is really funny. It's just weird because I've not watched a lot of him.
It's probably the timing, mate. I mean, comedy, not a lot of comedy ages, well, to be honest, virtually no comedy age, because a lot of comedies today, by the time you're sort of living in, it's got to be relevant to the audience and the time they're sort of. So it's no surprise. It does. Like, I don't think I could fling on an hour-long Billy Connolly, really, these days, to be honest. No, just not that I wouldn't enjoy it. It's just probably going to be something I'd go for. I mean, in terms of relevant to Scotland, obviously, he is the biggest, even with Kevin Bridges, probably the biggest comedy ever come out of Scotland. Sort of like a worldwide sort of night, because he did do it in America, he did do it down south. And he always did say he didn't want to be known as a Scottish comedian, he just kind of wanted to be known as a comedian and just be among it. But like, I could definitely see where you're at, mate, in terms of.
Who's your favourite comedian? Is it Billy Connolly as well? Or?
So I'd probably put Dave Chappelle as, like, in terms of comedians I enjoy, Dave Chappelle probably my first, in terms of just like time and storytelling.
The Chappelle show and that, aye.
Yeah, so the Chappelle show, I still go back and watch it.
Raw, it's just so cutthroat. So, aye, it's like the tuna fat.
Pretty much. I would put it to, in terms of like sort of best sort of sketch though, in the sort of relevant countries. Bill Burr is probably a close second for me.
He's fucking good, by the way.
See, I've so not watched his stand-up at all. I've seen him on...
he's world class at stand-up.
If you've seen him on Joe Rogan, it's pretty much the way he is on Joe Rogan, isn't it? Like that, the way
his sets are better, I would say. He seems... He just kind of wants to chill and have a chat on Joe Rogan, but his sets are like fucking... I think there's one called... I'm sorry you feel that way. That might be my favourite one, where it's kind of the black and white. And he does it in front of like church organs, even though he doesn't believe in God. And he kind of talks about like kind of letting go his religion. He's brilliant, mate. If you've not seen that, get on to Netflix, mate. Got Bill Burr. Watch it.
Is he on Netflix? Right, okay.
Aye. He's got specials. You get 2 specials on Netflix, hasn't he?
I think he might have his old ones on there as well. You get his old ones on YouTube for free anyway.
But he was on a thing that I pure love. Oh, I've not watched it in a while, actually. The Chef Show. So it was the movie like the Chef, and then there's a thing called the Chef Show, where they just cook food, and the guy for the movie Chef had Bill Burr on it, and they're cooking like just a toasty, mate. They're cooking a toasty.
I've seen that.
There's no point in trying to butter it up in any other way. It's a toasty, and Bill Burr's like
grilled cheese.
Make these right. Grilled cheese. It's called, but it's a fucking toasty in it. So he's like, I can never make these right, and he's just been like, how the fuck did you do that? And I'm like, it's just being pure honest. Like, he's not trying to pretend that he knows what they're doing. He's just like, he makes a fucking toasty. He's like, oh, look at that. You're bringing toasty, like, and he's like, oh,
the cheese.
I'm there, and they do that, and the cheese with pure drips. I'm like, oh,
what's your thoughts, both these, on if you know him, Bert Kreischer? From Joe Rogan.
Name rings a bell.
He's a big guy. He takes his top off all the time for stand-up.
Oh, aye, he's great. He's great. I know exactly. Like,
I like him. My missus hates him.
Yes. His comedy's quite storytelling-esque as well.
You say, mate?
I just went to. Oh, sorry, I found him. I wrote Bert, and his name's popped up.
He's always on this. He does a show. You would listen to him. He does a Sober October with Joe Rogan.
They do the.
He's got a big fucking laugh.
He does a lot of stand-up shirtless.
The minute I've googled him, he's just a hairy, topless man.
Are you sure you've googled him? Not just googled hairy, topless men.
No again.
He's quite good as well. I think, see, American comedy, it's different though, innit? It's different to specifically Scottish, but British. You think of like Mickey Flanagan or even like Frankie Boyle for me is up there. I love him. Some people hate him, but he's so good.
To the bone,
Frankie Boyle.
That's why I love it. And he gets criticised a lot, and I'm like, don't fucking watch him then.
Well, that's the thing. He's definitely like an advocate of like fucking for the darkest comedy you can sort of go to. I mean, there's no many comedians that are going to match Frankie Boyle for how dark they can actually go. That Michael Jackson's Children's Hospital bit is like it's fucked up.
Michael Jackson's Children's Hospital.
Yeah, but it's fucking hilarious, man. I could have stopped laughing for about fucking half an hour the first time I heard that.
So I messaged him the other day trying to get him on, but he's obviously not replied.
Oh yeah, you hear this?
He's got a big list of DMs to get.
He used to write most of Mock the Week. He used to write when he was on Mock the Week.
He was a writer before he was on it. Aye.
He used to give everybody the jokes suited to them, and then he would do his own jokes.
He's great. I'd love to have gone and seen him.
I like Darryl Breen. Oh man, we could talk about comedians all day. Simmo, wait, you're still in the army?
Still in the army, mate. Aye. Coming on to 8 years, I think. 8 years.
So you said you're a medic,
eh? You get a pension. When do you chuck it? Is there a
so
what's your pension get?
Take him doing. I'm doing it.
What's the pension like?
I know how to work plasters. I can do plasters.
So the pension you can take, I think nowadays is 24 and 30. You can get your sort of like full lump sum payout and then get your fucking pay till you die. You get a 12-year pension. It's pretty decent as well, I think, but you don't get that till you're like 65. But the pension's good. It's a good job, mate. I think it gets painted in a bad light as a sort of like your last sort of chance, and maybe it was for me because I left school with a swimming certificate, and that was about
it. I left school with a plaster.
But I've enjoyed my time. The army's gave me a lot as well. You know what I mean? Like,
what's the process then? So I was just going to say, you said you're a medic and combat medic.
Yeah, so it's for us. It's about 14 weeks basic training, and then it's about a year in phase 2. This is your medical training. So your phase 1 training is just how to be a soldier, essentially. Just how the fucking guns work.
Yourself.
Pretty much. And then phase 2 is how to actually do the medicine part of it. So you do that for a year, then you go to a regiment for a year as a class 2, and you kind of just, that means you're basically, to put it in layman's terms, is you're an apprentice for a year. And then you can go to apply and be a class 1. You do the course, which is about 8 weeks when I did it. I think it might be actually a wee bit longer now. And then once you're a class 1, you can actually work on your own. So it's a long old sort of training path to get fully qualified. But and then after that, I was fortunate enough, the Army sent me to university as well to do the ambulance technician qual, which is strange because I left school with obviously nothing. And ended up going to university.
Which you freshers then, aye?
Aye, I was like a wee bit older and a wee bit. No, it's been a good career.
So, see how I know the Army's always about progressing people, and they always want to upskill, they always want to push. See yourself here full time. Can you come out of there as a GP? No.
No. So you can definitely apply to do it. You can apply to do it, but it's so long to be a GP. It's 7 years training altogether.
Generally.
So you do have doctors in the Army, and they're Army doctors, and they do a lot of their training in the Army. But in terms of like a combat medic going that way, but no, it doesn't happen often. I'm sure it's happened before, but it's like for me to do that, like I'm 26 now. I'd be you know what I mean, 33, but if granted that I started the now. Do you know what I mean? Not to say that would be, because you do get a lot of doctors that actually kind of start their training late. Actually, I can imagine
they would, because
I worked with a doctor that he was a lawyer before he actually so he was a lawyer, and then he was a lawyer till he was about 30 something. Then he ended up decided he wanted to be a doctor, and then he did that, and then at the same time he joined the Army.
That's way too much education for me. Oh, fuck that.
That's a lot of education, mate. That is a lot of time in the book.
That must be like, what, 13, 14 years or something?
Aye. Like, no fun. And you never stop. The thing with medicine is you never stop learning it.
It's always changing, isn't it?
Always changing. It's always changing. Something. That's why I've got to do courses every sort of like different courses. Maybe there's like 3 or 4 of them, along with mandatory training, just to keep myself up to date. And I'm mandated to do them, otherwise I can't practice. You know what I mean? So it's one of the jobs you've never done that. So sometimes when I'm doing my portfolio or something, I think, I wish I'd just been a fucking brickie or something, man. I just fucking learnt my trade and that was me, and I just know how to do it every day.
I know, it's constant learning.
No, mate, it's good to keep learning. It keeps the brain fresh, doesn't it?
I think so, mate. Aye.
And then you keep drinking unfresh the brain. How fucking... See when you hear about a guy who was a lawyer, then a GP, and then joined the Army, like that, I've not even fucking kicked a ball in life, have I? Like, either he's see-through because he's never been out and seen daylight, and any pals, or he just fucking puts theirs in and really puts everybody else to shame.
Some people enjoy learning as well, do you know what I mean? Like some people...
It's good to learn. I like to learn doing this.
If you're that level of academic sort of ability though, then it just kind of, I don't want to say it came easy for him, but definitely had.
No, it would have. Do
you know what I mean? Like if you've easier than maybe someone
like us or something.
Aye.
I know. So what's so plans for the future? So when did the podcast start?
November.
November. You've got quite a bit of traction. Quite a good bit of traction considering how short you've been doing it, eh?
Yeah, aye. So we're
26 episodes, 27 episodes?
Yeah, 26 episodes, just under 2,500 downloads, which we thought we were like, if we can take a year to get to like maybe 1,000 a month, then that would be, we would consider that way ahead of what we planned to do. And now obviously that happened so quick. Especially since we just sort of restructured the content and kind of said, oh no, this is something I actually want to do. In terms of like looking at podcasting as like something I could actually do as a living, maybe one day, honestly, like I enjoy it that much that I wouldn't, if this was my job to do podcasting, I wouldn't feel, you know what I mean, I would feel pretty good about that, to be honest.
I was going to ask that there, but I thought, I don't know if any of your peers watch you or watch this. I thought I'll not mention that. You want to talk the Army, don't worry, pension and fucking run.
Unless you kill somebody, you can't be sacked in the Army.
Oh, that's good. There you go.
So plans for the future then, obviously you've said you did want to get to 1,000 a month within 12 months. So What's the... Obviously, is it 2 shows that you do a week or something like that, is it?
Yeah, roughly sort of, 2 or 3 a day. We do a week, sort of like a review and a preview of the Premier League. And then right now we're just doing a month-long show, which is a transfer show where we talk about the January transfer window and the effects in the Premier League and stuff like that. Which is I quite like the transfer one because it's not as structured.
So, right, what's your what is going on with my eye? What is your top tip? Who's the big transfer in January? What's going to happen? He's a big transfer.
I wish there was more. I wish there was more happening than.
Surely you're keeping your eye on the ball. You know what's going to be.
Well, to be honest, mate, we'd probably expected a wee bit more to happen than actually happened. But I think clubs are quite reluctant to spend. A lot of the clubs that you'd expect to sign players have kind of come out and said
reluctant to spend. Like Celtic just want to be to Dubai for a week. Back with COVID.
Yeah, celebrated losing an old firm with some beers, which I'm sure was great as Celtic fans to see. That's exactly what I'd like to see.
Embarrassing.
And then can you put fucking 2 goals by Hibs? So, but anyway, what do you think the big transfer of January will be? But for looking off.
I think it's probably already happened. Manchester United have spent about 37 million on an 18-year-old winger that's pretty unproven. He's played about 20 minutes of first-team football this season. But apparently it's a youngster I've been watching for quite a while. He's not came up married at any point. Ahmed Diallo, his name is. So that's still quite a lot of money for a January signing, 37 million. Still quite a lot of money. In terms of...
Where did he come from?
Atalanta in Italy. Oh. Yeah, he was on loan there from... Can't remember where, but yeah, that's where he came from. But
still, good knowledge that you knew he came from there.
But that might be the most money we see spent.
You're big on Twitter, Simmo. So have you seen all the Twitter rumours or who was trending earlier today or like within the last hour before we came on?
Well, I was watching the Newcastle Sheffield game, so
there's big
committee
there's big talk of well, no big talk. There's a lot of rumours about Man U trying to make a bid for Sergio Ramos.
No,
I'm like.
I think Real Madrid have been pretty clear they don't want to renew his contract because he's on quite a lot of money, Sergio Ramos. He kind of profile of player he is, but in terms of how he would fit in next to Maguire, the club captain, who'd have spent £75 million on, that's probably not going to be...
Who would you take in your team right now? Would you take Sergio Ramos or Harry Maguire?
Sergio Ramos.
Thank you. See Sergio Ramos, my mate, for some odd weird reason, we used to watch El Clásicos like quite religiously and always put Sergio Ramos anytime and he would always score. Always score.
Oh, he's...
And what was the things on Instagram that he was posting me and running a treadmill? Look at him, he's in some shape.
He's in great shape, aye. He's definitely looked after himself.
Man U for about 4 seasons. He's always linked to Man U.
His looks have aged to him as well. Jesus Christ. He used to look like a horse, remember? With his long hair and the big teeth and all that.
But he's a gimp.
Aye. The Man U, Simmo, is he still a gimp, aye?
Probably. I made so of a gimp.
He's a bigger gimp.
Liverpool fans have got previous with Sergio Ramos because he broke, he dislocated Mo Salah's shoulder in a Champions League final. So we've got previous. But so in terms of the reason why, if you're wondering why Sergio Ramos normally get linked to clubs like Manchester United, is because there's only probably 3 or 4 clubs in the world that can actually afford to pay Sergio Ramos his wages, and that's probably Man City, Man United, Juventus, and PSG. There's not really many other. There's no other clubs in the world that can afford to pay the wages of Sergio Ramos.
Surely Liverpool could afford to pay that. If they
Liverpool don't pay their players as well as people think.
He's big on wages. Do you know much about the kind of player salaries and stuff like that? Do you look into any of that?
I know a wee bit about it. When it's kind of relevant for the transfer show, like a staple in Liverpool's midfield is a player called Gini Wijnaldum, who's a fantastic player, and he's been there for a few years. And he's actually, they're in talks right now, and they're kind of going back and forth. Liverpool and Gini Wijnaldum, they're kind of struggling to find a middle ground. Gini Wijnaldum makes £90,000 a week. That's a lot of money, right? But it's not as much money as other midfielders in the Premier League. There's like James Maddison and Jack Grealish that are on 140, 150.
Danny Drinkwater.
Yeah,
Chelsea doesn't even play. He's on like 120 or something, you know?
He's on 100 on the dot. So
that's why he does what he does when we sit.
So when you look at these players, and Gino Wijnaldum's a Champions League winner, he's a Premier League winner, World Club Cup winner. He's a consistent international for Holland. Very rarely misses a game. Very few players in the world that play more minutes of football than Gino Wijnaldum. And I think he's probably looking at.
Is he not looking to move clubs?
So right now in charge of Barcelona is a manager called Ronald Koeman. And they have that sort of Dutch link-up, and apparently they're quite fond of each other. So he could go to Barcelona on a free, and no one can really say that's a bad move. Barcelona don't look as good as the Barcelona of old, but you know they are Barcelona. They will turn it around at some point and come back up to sort of great levels. But
remember, Messi's free to talk to other clubs now as well. So
I was literally just about to say to Simmo there. Did you follow Ronald Koeman and the Messi sort of saga? I know they had a fallout apparently and all that kind of stuff.
Aye, but it's very clear who has the power there. It's Messi.
Fucking true, it is.
It's Messi, mate.
He's trying to get rid of the directors and stuff like that, and the people who. So if he gets rid of them, if they quit, they need to pay the bill.
Aye,
they don't want to quit because they don't want to pay the bill. So
pretty much. I mean, in terms of like, so Messi probably is in a position like where he thinks he's outlived many Barcelona managers. Because he's been there all his life, essentially.
I don't think Messi can get Koeman out the door. I feel it.
Oh, yeah.
It feels if
it depends.
If his contract was going to be renewed, it'd be renewed now.
Mm-hmm.
If they've not renewed it now,
I wouldn't out.
Been there a while.
I wouldn't.
It's on the wall, man.
I wouldn't say it's definite that Messi's going to move at all. I think that contract might go down in a while. Do you know how much Messi's on a week?
650, is it?
So many?
750, I think.
Is that euros?
Pounds? Like just shy of $1 million. Just shy. No, £750,000, just shy of €1 million. A lot of money. A lot of money. A lot of money for Messi.
Ridiculous money.
Crazy money. So you think of it,
global brand, but
well, he is probably one of the most recognisable faces in the world in terms of the Western world.
And you take, let's be honest, if you take Messi out, that Barcelona team now, you know they're obviously a fucking massive club, great club, but they're nowhere near as powerful without him, in my opinion. I just don't see it.
I think any club would probably miss Messi is the type of player he is, because he can win your games on his own. He is that type of player. And when I say that, that's a phrase that gets tossed around for quite a lot of players. They can win your games on his own, but it's very rarely true. It's very rarely true, and it's only really relevant to a handful of players in the world. And Messi's one of them. He is, in my opinion, and pretty much anybody who knows a decent amount of football is, because obviously on Twitter and on Instagram, Facebook, you see the debate: Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi. The answer is Messi. Messi is the superior player. He is the more well-rounded player, and he is probably the greatest player to ever play football.
I think he is.
So he can demand any money he wants.
I know.
Does Barcelona get furlough? Like €1 million a week? Like even at 80% of that, they need to pay him. There's nobody coming through the doors for how long, and they still need to pay him. So, it just financially, does it make sense?
Well, they make a lot of money, Barcelona. They make a lot of money as a brand because of the brand they are. But in terms of like paying Messi's wages, if they're not going to get as much out of Messi as they used to, as like a 25-year-old Messi, which is obviously stupid of them to expect. He's probably getting paid a lot more money than he was when he's 25. He's not as good. He's not as good a footballer as he was when he's 25. So, when you got to think of it that way, I wouldn't rule out Messi signing the Barcelona contract if they extend it maybe for like 2 or 3 years. But I totally wouldn't rule out a move to Manchester City where Pep Guardiola is. And
like we spoke about as well, there's only probably even less clubs that can afford him, and there are probably two in the Premier League are Man U and Man City.
Yeah,
you would think
PSG and Man City. That's it.
Right,
that's the only two. Or the MLS, because you get these American billionaires that could.
Or China.
MLS have a lot of strict wage caps.
China's capped, isn't it? China's capped. You can't.
China's heading that way, but it's the same sort of idea as MLS, where you can pay like 2 or 3 players as much as you want, but the rest of them have got to be kind of capped. That makes sense. That's why Iniesta can make 500 a week, 500k a week. Even the Brazilian footballer Hulk was making 400,000 for a very long time. He went, yeah.
How ironic was it that his name was Hulk though? Because he was a fucking unit.
Edge player, yeah. I always thought that he was born first, then he named him.
He still was, wasn't he?
So, sorry, Simmo, can you just plug your website for us as well, just so people know how to head on?
www.totalschemers.com, and you get all sort of links to whatever we're at, which is most places you can find a podcast.
Every social? You're on all the socials?
Yeah, all the socials. I don't run any of them. I do production, editing, and sort of like website management. And then my two other co-hosts, Jed and Jake, they do all the socials and booking guests and stuff like that. So. Largely down to their sort of hard work.
That's their hard work.
I'm doing all like the hours of editing and this. What do you think of this player?
Kenny's the Matchmaker FM champion, isn't you?
Mate, aye.
It's been really good, by the way.
It is.
I think we need to utilise it a wee bit more often. As is a podcast.
I'm the same. I use it on my phone, and I feel as if when I get a message, it's dead slow for me to keep up with. But nevertheless. Right.
You've got to go to refresh the page to get the...
I've got one more question for Simmo.
We need to start getting back at this because you're the first guest, mate. You're the first guest of 2021.
Oh, wow. I'm honoured.
So privileged. So, Gav's got the real proper question that we ask everybody. But I'm trying to start a new one. Because it's fun to... So, what is your pet peeve? What's your pet peeve? See if you you got something that goes, do you know what, that fucking makes my skin crawl. Like, what is your pet peeve?
People eating loud in front of me.
Big cheers.
I've got that. I don't know what the name of it is, but like, if I'm sitting like at lunch with somebody and they're eating with their mouth open and it's loud as fuck, I can't have a good time. You know, that'll be me for the rest of the day, and I'm kicking shit. You know.
I
don't know what it is. That's probably my main one, and I'd probably say it might be the military in me, like disorganisation, people touching my stuff and it kind of getting moving around.
That might be quite good for your editing and stuff like that though, because you're so structured in editing and stuff like that. I bet you it's crisp.
Well, it's something. I wouldn't say crisp. It's a mess. It's
crispy.
Studied at the Academy of YouTube. You know what I mean? It's a fucking nightmare. It's a nightmare. Like tutorials used to be so cool on YouTube, but some dude's got to fucking talk for 5 minutes or something.
Before you can even continue, you need to...
Yeah, it's so fucking frustrating. It's like, hey guys, welcome back to another Really Well. And it's like 5 minutes of sponsors, and then it's not the information you were after. It's just clickbait. Like, cheers, mate. Thanks, bye.
And also, in the 5 minutes, you have to watch a further 3 minutes of fucking Deliveroo adverts. Does my tits.
Thanks for that absolute fucking useless information. Click continue.
Right, biggest question. So, Simmo, we ask every one of our guests this question at the end of the show. So, if you can have one drink and one drink only, what would you have and who would it be with?
An alky bev, aye.
In at all.
In the ball. Let me think. I think I'd probably have it. I quite like gin.
Nice.
I quite like gin, so I'd probably have a gin and tonic. And I'd probably have it, and I can have it with anybody in the world.
Dead or alive, anybody at all.
It's me. I'm on the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm having a gin. He's having a joint.
What an answer! But brilliant. Listen, thanks very much for coming on. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, boys.
And everybody go and check out the podcast and the website. Be sure to check ours out as well where you're at.
We need to start doing that. We need to really start letting
people know where they can find us.
If they're watching us, then they're watching us. But subscribe or something.
Subscribe or something. Aye, but brilliant. So, guys, till next time. Thanks very much, and Simmo again. Thanks very much, mate. It's a pleasure.
Cheers, lads.
Pleasure, mate.
Cheers.
Peace soon.
Bye.